How are you doing, everyone? I thought I'd do a little bit of a review and preview right smack bang in the middle of the Origin week. So we're looking ahead to next Wednesday, but we're also reflecting on the previous Wednesday, which was Origin 1. What a day it was, Donald Trump and Joe Biden battling it out, and also then Origin at the end. I could hardly contain my excitement. Um, First of all, what a great effort by Queensland. I actually predicted it on social media. I mean, don't get me wrong, I get so many wrong, so I'm just trying to claim this one, but I just felt there was something in the air. I felt that all the pressure was on New South Wales. Everyone was telling them that they were going to walk through the Queensland side. It was the worst Queensland side in X amount of years, all this kind of thing. Well, what more motivation did Queensland need, and what more pressure did New South Wales not need? And I think that was a massive factor. I'm going to say something else too, straight from the off. Missing players of the like of James Maloney in the New South Wales side are huge. Somebody like James Maloney just keeps the team calm. So when you concede a try, so for example, when it became 10-6 early in the second half, James Maloney would have been behind the stick saying, "Don't worry, boys, let's go back to our basics," so on and so forth, if he wasn't doing it at half time. So somebody like him was a real loss, right? And you still got two relatively young halves, Nathan Cleary and Luke Keary. And obviously everything gets thrust upon them in the media about there being a problem. But I think there was a bigger problem, massively bigger problem. I felt that New South Wales played a little bit skitty in attack. They got a bit too carried away with themselves. You've sometimes got to build sets of about 5 to 8. You've got to, instead of just looking at one set to score a try, you've got to build some pressure. Set 1, set 2, set 3, set 4, set 5, so on and so forth. And New South Wales didn't really do that in the second half. Secondly, what also happened in the second half is Wayne Bennett and his coaching staff managed to solve the problem that has been destroying Queensland ever since Brad Fittler took over New South Wales. That's the New South Wales tactic of exposing the middle with the fast players. So they'll go forward, and then about 15-20 minutes into the half, your James Tedesco's and your Damien Cooks will start running at those perceived tired defenders in the Queensland side. So what Wayne Bennett did in the second half, there was actually a period there where Friend and Hunt were on the field at the same time. I assume one of them was playing at lock or something like that, because there are two mobile men in the middle, regardless of who the prop interchange was. There are two mobile men in the middle that were able to mop up defensively. And New South Wales didn't have a plan B. They kept trying to go down that avenue. So they need to come up with something tactically a little bit better. In terms of selections, I think Queensland have got through this game, but I don't think they can be complacent, and I think they need to look at possible 1 or 2 changes in the next game. Obviously, Brimson's gone. I also thought a couple of their defensive plays in the back line were a little bit ropey, so they've got to look at that. Whether they've got anybody to replace who can do a better job is another thing entirely. I also thought their good ball attack was actually really poor. So I think they need to work more on combinations, more on front man, back man play, more on change of direction, second phase offload play, that kind of thing. That said, they scored a lot of their tries from the middle chunk of the third. And when I say the middle, I mean widthways. I don't mean left, middle, right. I mean the middle chunk of the field as you're going forward. The reason they scored tries from there, well, obviously the New South Wales defence probably wasn't as hyped up, ready to defend like they would be on their own goal line, and they just shifted the ball a little bit, and they made some inroads. So Queensland need to make a couple of tweaks. What they are, we'll have to wait and see. New South Wales, likewise, I mean, everyone was saying they were so good. Everyone's been singing the praises for 2 years. Does that now mean they are a bad side, just because they lost that game? And honestly, when they got back into it, they nearly pulled off a miracle draw or win. So I don't think they need to throw the baby toys out of the pram yet. I think just need to look at it in terms of maybe putting somebody more experienced in the halves, and that's where I think about Cody Walker, if I'm honest, just to have a more experienced head out there, and somebody like Keary would be good coming off the bench, creating a bit of spark maybe, I don't know. Also, defensively, the two centres, Whiten and Gutherson, just didn't look comfortable at all. So Queensland probably need to think about exploiting that even further in the next game. It's in Sydney. I fully expect at this juncture for New South Wales to hit back and set up a decider at Suncorp Stadium. But I'm sorry, New South Welshmen, I honestly think Queensland have got a better chance than they've had for the last couple of years, because that decider will be at Suncorp. Currently building the courses for Rugby League coach, so they'll be coming up soon. If you're interested and you want to get a discount, send me a message on social media or admin@rugbyleaguecoach.com.au on the email. And the other thing is, if you have a coaching business and you do most of your sessions at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, that kind of time, the Australian summer, honestly, the amount of times a storm starts at about 3 o'clock, 3:30, up here in Queensland in particular, and I've had to wipe away a couple of sessions in the last couple of weeks, but getting really busy with that. If you're in the Brisbane area, Ipswich, Gold Coast, give us a holler if you want some one-on-one or small group coaching or something like that. It's building nicely, and I'll be bringing on another coach soon who helps me out with it. All good. Give me your opinions on Origin. Do you like it at this time of year? I think the only difference is there's no shows like the Footy Show, there's no 100% Footy, there's no NRL 360 and all the Fox shows. There's just less coverage around it, that's all, but it was certainly something good to do on Wednesday night, a break from the election, and also for the next 2 Wednesdays that's going to be good too. Enjoy, and speak soon.